Next to every lesson title, we're also showing lesson duration. All these numbers represent lesson duration in minutes. But we are going to slightly change this logic, and instead of using minutes, we're gonna store lesson duration in seconds. Firstly, let's identify the component where we're showing this duration. The component name is lesson list item, and if I'll open up this component, in here we're seeing that we are referencing duration property on the lesson object. And in the lesson store, that duration property contains amount of minutes of every lesson. But I'm going to go through each lesson object and replace this number with amount of seconds. I'll pick amount of seconds in a way so that each lesson will last from 3 minutes to 10 minutes. And after this, all those numbers are changed, as you can see, but we'll have to properly format it. To do so, I'm going to define a separate utility function within utils folder. Let's create format duration file, and right here I'm going to declare the function with the same name, format duration, which will take amount of seconds. And based on this amount of seconds, we're gonna calculate how many minutes we'll have to display, as well as amount of remaining seconds. Firstly, I'm going to divide amount of seconds by 60 to get amount of minutes. So let's say lesson lasts 2 minutes 10 seconds, and after dividing this amount of seconds by 60, we're gonna get 2 in minutes constant. And then we'll also have to get remainder of the division of seconds by 60, which is gonna give us amount of remaining seconds, which in the example of when lesson lasts 2 minutes 10 seconds is going to give us remaining 10 seconds in remaining seconds constant. And then we're gonna return a resulting formatted string. Firstly, we're gonna show amount of minutes, followed by colon, followed by remaining amount of seconds. I will firstly convert this number to string, since we're gonna call pet_start method on this string. And this is done so that remaining amount of seconds will always include leading 0. So for example, when lesson duration will be 4 minutes 5 seconds, this string is going to be equal to 4:0:5, so it will include leading 0. Alright, so let's jump back to lesson list item component and call this function and pass duration into it, like so. And you might have noticed that we don't have to import this format duration function in the component, since all the functions that are defined within utils folder will automatically be imported by Nuxt. So in the browser, we're seeing how each lesson duration is formatted now. At the end, let's reduce code duplication a bit. Sometimes we're throwing an error by using create error function, and we are repeating the same expression to throw this error several times. For example, inside playlist page component, then inside of lesson page component, and also one more time within the utility function getPlaylist link. Just to avoid this duplication, we can do the following. I'm going to add one more utility function. Let's create a file for this function and call it throw 404. And in here, we'll define a function with the same name, which is basically going to throw an error. It is going to throw an error every time, which means it will never return any value. So I'm gonna use never as a return type of this function. It will take message of the error, and here we're gonna throw this error by using create error function. This function is going to build the error object, and we'll just have to forward the message that we are receiving as a parameter to this function further into the error configuration object, like this. So now that we have this function defined, all we have to do is to go through all those places where we're manually calling create error function. Instead, we're going to call our new helper function throw 404 and specify proper error message. Let's jump to another place inside of playlist page component. Here we're also calling throw 404 function with the following message, playlist not found. And finally, let's open up lesson page component. In here, we have two such places where we can call throw 404. In the first case, I will specify playlist not found error message, and right here, we're gonna pass lesson not found string. And just to make sure that everything still works as expected, I will switch over to the browser and try a few things. For example, let's specify the invalid salah of the lesson, in which case we're about to receive 404 with a proper error message. And now let's also try to specify invalid playlist salah, in which case we will also get the same error, but the error message will say that playlist not found. And we are getting the expected behavior. Link to the source code of this project will be in the video description.